Hey guys, back to the Dead Mile devlog. So today we're going to be going over a couple new things that we added into the game. So we now have a working car that actually, somewhat looks like a car. So we're going to be going over that, kind of going on a little drive, and then I'm going to be talking about the environment we're trying to capture with the game, and also going to be talking about our procedural generation system that we're working on. So yeah, let's go for a little drive. This is a combination of some things that we made and then some Unity assets I downloaded, but I just put some cacti and some rocks and stuff just to add a little bit of flavor. But yeah, I just want to show kind of what gameplay could eventually look like. We've got a hitchhiker there. We're not going to pick him up. We're just going to keep walking. Um, yeah, so I wanted to kind of show what it would feel like to drive in this sort of desolate environment. We're going to turn off here. So this is an example of, you're on the highway and you could turn off and see something. I just put in this little Unity thing that we're looking at here, just to have something to look at. But yeah, this could potentially be a side mission or something that you could do like that's off the highway that isn't in one of the population centers. So yeah, let's head back to the gas station. There's an animal there. Let's see if he attacks us. I think he might just be stuck right there. But yeah, I'm gonna drive back over here and show you our physics system and collide into a few things and kind of just mess around a little bit while I talk about some of the other things we've been working on. I'm gonna knock right into here. So yeah, we're doing our own physics system and collision system all from scratch, and that's definitely a process. Right now, the car feels pretty much like a Roblox game. It feels very stiff and silly. I'm gonna hit this animal and run into these cars. But yeah, we want to really do it on our own so that we can have a very refined, smooth feeling system. And something else we want to do is essentially have a variety of different builds for the car. So we want players to have a lot of customization options. We want to have like 20 or 25 different, types of car that you can drive, not just the standard Chevy type thing we have going here, but things like a semi truck, a fire truck, a standard regular truck like an F-150, that kind of thing. But yeah, we want to give players a lot of different options for builds and ways they can approach a run in the game in that roguelite system where, hey, maybe this time we're going to try to, build a fortified truck that can run through everything and, different approaches that the player can take to the game. So that stuff is really exciting. But yeah, very really simple system we have set up here. It's nothing too crazy, but you can knock into things and it reacts. And yeah, the car isn't the smoothest right now, but it's a really monumental project to try and take down. So we're just always working on that. So I'm gonna back out here and we're gonna talk about the procedural generation system in the game. So let me back out here. Yeah. So this is the system and algorithm we put in place that essentially is going to help us create a new unique level every time you play and every time you run through. So we have a few different things you can tweak here, but essentially we want every map to roughly be long stretches of, you know, highway where you're just driving, but also things where you can pull off to the side, and then 1 to 2 denser, more urban areas like a town where you have the police station and the gas station and a bunch of different things. So yeah, this is kind of the system we have. You can adjust things like preferred direction. That kind of changes. I'm doing that right here. That kind of changes the way the map moves. So if it's going to move left or right, essentially, it's on the X and Y axis. Um, So yeah, we have a few different examples here. You can increase the max nodes. So if we want to do a bigger map, then I can just increase the node count and create a much bigger map. Um, but yeah, this is really, we want it to be a mix of mostly sparse, interesting areas where you can do side missions and side quests and things like that, but also accompanied with denser population areas. But we want the denser population areas to be more of a relief and a more rare thing. So yeah, this is kind of me just swooping around, looking at the map, um, how it might look. This isn't really how we would have an actual level look, but just kind of messing around with it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and it was great to give you a little update on what's going on with Dead Mile.